Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode, microplot, is a complete adventure with a beginning and an end that fits into the overarching macro plot of the whole season. Because they stand sturdily on their own, you can listen to these adventures in any order and skip any that you don't enjoy. Today, we are playing using the mechanics from a game called Fudge Lite. It is our first time playing, so we might make some mistakes. If you enjoy these mechanics, you can find the game, Fudge Lite, spelled Fudgelite, on a website by the same name, fudgelite.com. Build your own Fudge Lite character and play a game with friends. Speaking of friends, we are joined today by Hefty.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hefty.Elphus. I'm an American possum. My fudge letter...
Oh, I guess she wouldn't know this. She's got stats. Her fudge letter is that she has a +3 to flashy, a +2 to careful, a +1 to sneaky, a +0 to clever, a -2 to forceful, and a -2 to quick. And she is a regular-looking possum with a ukulele.
Let's go next to Deli.
Hi, I'm Deli Kincaid. I'm a humanoid ferret. I'm a ferret that walks on two legs, let's be honest. Deli stats are a 0 to careful, a +2 to clever, a -1 to flashy, a -2 to forceful, a +1 to quick, and a +3 to sneaky.
And last but not least, Wilford.
Hello, I'm a 2-foot-tall tinker troll. I've got a background in technicianing, a gift for tinkering, but my fault is my sworn enemy, Dr. Thronrobber, who is ever biting at my heels. Wilford's traits for this game are +2 in careful, +3 in clever, -2 in flashy, -2 in forceful, +1 in quick, and +2 in sneaky. And using the Fudge Lite system, he has some of his high-tech gadgetry represented by functionally spell casting.
What was your highest stat? I think we had like a flashy, a sneaky, and a... What are you?
Clever.
Clever. This is a good party.
It's a good mix, absolutely. Let us begin. All of you have received a unique invitation. There is a town that is essentially a huge bazaar. And the name of the town is Procopia Agora. This location is invitation only. It's like waiting in line to get into a shop, but it is actually a whole bazaar. The idea is that you can find anything here. Anything. There are no limitations. So the way the invitation comes, Hefty, you are specifically given an invitation. You are told that your toy possums are going to be sold for the first time at this bazaar. And as a result, Fire Breathing Kittens as a whole got 3 invitations. They did a random selection, and Deli and Wilford each were also chosen for this invitation. The invitation came in the form of a coin. It's about 3 to 3.5 inches across. On one side of the coin is a picture of the outside of the main gate of this bazaar. And on the other side, personalized to yourselves, your face is actually on the coin. Now, what's supposed to happen with the coin is you are supposed to go to a location just outside of town where you will find an archway. And you're supposed to walk through the archway with your coin. Now, when you do that, you're actually transported to the west coast of the country, to the southern peninsula, where there is a carriage, horseless, waiting for you, although there is a driver for the carriage. And all 3 of you are ushered into the carriage for a drive to this location. So if you could take a moment and describe yourselves to one another. I believe Hefty and Wilford have met before, but I don't think anybody has met Deli yet.
Hefty, good to see you.
And who's this?
I'm Deli. Deli Kincaid. Very nice to meet you. Love the little guitar.
Thanks.
Pleased to meet you, Deli. You may call me Wilford.
Wilford. Nice to meet you as well.
I'm Hefty.
Yes, it
I hear
would
that we
help to
got
have
these.
both names.
Oh yes, I hear we got these tokens because your fame and renown has risen such that we've gotten a personal invitation. That's mighty exciting.
The toys are definitely good. We had them enchanted by a sea witch, and they can, sing and ukulele by themselves, and we've focus tested them with small children. They're very popular.
Excellent work. I'm mighty interested to see what we might find today at the bazaar.
It's very exciting.
Tell me, Deli, what do you hope to find at the bazaar today?
I wasn't looking for anything in particular, honestly. I'm more here to meet people, I guess. Maybe a really long stick. Be nice to find. Really long stick.
So the trip goes rather smoothly. The carriage is rather well built. And you're moving along. It seems like rather flat ground. There's not a lot of hills or anything like that. And it takes probably about an hour, give or take, while you make small talk. But all of a sudden, the carriage lurches and everybody is shifted within. And you hear a lot of commotion going on outside of the carriage.
I say, driver, what's going on out there?
The driver doesn't respond.
I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I throw open the door to take a look outside.
So you take a look outside. You're actually moving. It looks like you've done a loop around from the peninsula. And we're moving southerly on a large road about 2 ox cart wide. And coming up to a very large structure. It looks like what would be a circular or elliptical wall. It looks very old, very fortified. The top looks very uneven, like it wasn't masoned correctly. It's probably about 20 to 25 feet tall. There are watchtowers and everything else, but that's the initial thing that catches your attention. The second thing that catches your attention is it looks like chaos out here. You do not see the driver any longer on top of the carriage. You actually see him running towards a group of people that are outside this entrance. And we'll make the first roll of the game. Give me a check that represents for you perception. However you want to explain perception.
I believe in this moment that Wilford's attention is particularly on that running driver. And so I think a clever roll here might inform to what extent he can determine, is he running excitedly to help? Is he running away from something that's close to us? Kind of get that level of assessment. Okay.
So your difficulty for this is going to be, it's only going to be a 1. It's a very simple task. So roll and tell me, roll your dice, add them together, and then add your clever trait and tell me what you get.
So I'm rolling 4 dice. I'm using just straight up D6s, and I've rolled 6, 6, 3, 2, which in this case, 5s and 6s are +1 to my total, 3 4s are 0 to my total, and then 1s and 2s are -1. I rolled 6, 6, and a 2, so I'm getting +1 from my die roll and +3 from clever for a total of +4.
Okay, +4. That actually exceeds the top requirement of what would be considered superb. Okay, so you get the whole picture. Okay, the first thing that hits is your sense of smell. There is a scent of charred flesh in the air, and not in a good way. And you can see multiple smoking piles. You see several of what look like guards, which is the direction in which the driver is running. It looks like to help the guards. You see some commoners. You see a wizardly-looking fellow, robes, pointy hat, whole 9 yards. But in addition to that, then you see the source of the smell. There are what look like many husks of humanoid beings scattered outside the entrance to this town. In addition, as you look beyond, and you get a better look at that wall and look a little bit higher, there's a pale, semi-shimmering dome that looks to cover the entire city, at least from where you can see. And while you are watching, something comes out of the gateway to the town. It looks humanoid, but it looks like it's been depleted or desiccated. It looks like it's already a husk, much like the ones that are burning or smoking on the ground, rushing out wildly. The guards brace themselves to attack, and the wizard looks taken aback. He's stumbling backwards. He can't, and he raises his hand, and lightning comes from his hands and strikes this running husk. And it drops to the ground, smoking much like the rest of them as he falls on his behind. And you see all the guards cluster around to make sure and poke the husk to make sure it's no longer moving.
Okay, just want to double check a couple of things that I heard. So the husk came out of the city?
Correct.
And when we started with the carriage driver, it was just us plus the driver. So the guards, the wizard, like this is a kind of a new faction that we have come upon that is dealing with whatever this husk business is.
Correct. Now I will give you the additional, because you did roll as well as you did, that the heraldry for the guards and even for the wizard matched that of the symbol on the back of the coins that you were given.
Do I a quick whip pan around? Are there any stumbling husks immediately in our vicinity, or are we at kind of a removed location from the fray in this moment?
You are at a slightly removed location only because the driver saw what was going on, stopped, and immediately jumped down to go help. There are nothing moving that is husk-like that you see.
I turn to my companions. A fight has broken out. Members of the bazaar dealing with some sort of magical menace that has taken over. Be wary, there's spells that are being slung, a wizard that is out there, guards. I can see that they have heraldry that matches our coins. I hold my coin quickly. If you have any sort of melee or martial prowess, we can help. And maybe ensure a discount later when we're in the bazaar. And rubbing his hands gleefully, Wilford will jump out saying, "Let's go!"
Deli's going to jump out right behind Wilford. Clearly has no idea what he's doing, but he is ready to go. He is enthusiastic and ready to help.
Hefty involuntarily freezes for a moment, but gets over herself and pokes her head out and holds a ukulele from the doorway.
Now I know that possums do have a decent sense of smell rather than sight, so you get the same sense or a similar scent to what Wilford has gotten, as well as Deli now sees and smells everything that Wilford has seen and smelled.
Possums eat carrion, so it probably doesn't bother me. Like, I am aware of this thing. I will not eat these corpses, but it's also not going to make me vomit.
They smell wrong.
Oh, I do not want to eat them.
All right. So what are you going to do? The guards seem to have determined that the husk that emerged, has not come out. Additionally, Wilford, as you get closer, because you're the first one out, okay, it is very interesting because there is no symmetry to these husks, and not all of them are husk-like. And what I mean by that is, so you would imagine, generically, are they all human husks? No. They run the gamut. Are there animal husks? Yes. Are there construct husks? Yes.
As I look upon the husks that are scattered around, do they bear any sort of heraldry or unifying feature?
So as you examine them closer, and again, you made a very good roll, so as you get closer, imagine you took any person that you could see in the Fire-Breathing Kittens Guild Hall, anybody, or anybody walking down the street, and you dehydrated or reduced them in some way. That's what you're seeing.
Call back over my shoulder. Some form of magical desiccation appears to be taking place. I've never managed to desiccate a construct before, but something has done it.
So as you're coming out, the wizard gets up off the ground, starts dusting himself off. He's looking very warily at the doorway or at the portal gate that goes into the town. And he's brushing himself off and looking around and understanding that the guards have everything under control. He turns around and he goes, "Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. The fire-breathing kittens are here." And he looks, and 1, 2, 3, and he looks at the carriage and he looks back. There's just 3 of you?
You'll find when you're dealing with the fire-breathing kittens that 3 is all you need. And I stand at my full 2-foot stature, kind of strike a pose.
More than 3 can spontaneously cause fires.
And he's very addled. We tried to send word to try and get people here. Our own guards are not sufficient. We were getting ready to open the town, and a couple of hours ago, everything just went a little crazy. We were out here getting things ready for the welcoming, and this dome appeared, and all these husks. Some of them are people we know. They all rushed out of the entry here, and I've gotten word that they've run out of the other 3 or the other 2 entrances to the town as well. We sent in a group of our own people with 2 of our wizards, and none of them have come back. There have been 2 pulses over the past couple of hours, and every time there's a pulse, we get a rush of these husks, and some of them are mindless, and some of them are just horrible. And he looks back at the husk he was originally standing over when you arrived, and then looks back to you guys.
Deli kind of is just fixated, staring at this husk on the ground. Did anyone actually see them become a husk? Or were there people and then the pulse and then husks?
He takes a couple breaths, and he looks back and he says, points to the husk, and he's still very shaky. He says, "That was Gerald. Gerald and I were assistants to the Archmage of the Bazaar. He monitors all the magic. He and the Archmage and several of our guards went inside to try and find out what's happening. The Archmage each put an enchantment on an item for each of them, because we found out that if you cross the border without any protection, you're affected by the magic. It doesn't mean you become a husk." And he sits for a second. He said, "But you become reduced when you go through past the dome. Gerald said that there's an inner circle as well, and they could not pass it even with the protection. He tried to come out with the protection that the Archmage gave to him, and he immediately turned into one of these husks. What he told us before he crossed the line is that every time that there is a pulse, random people that are left in the town turn into these creatures. Some of them stay within, some of them are feral, but some seem intelligent, but the feral ones seem to rush out at us after each pulse."
You said that some seem intelligent. What gives you reason to believe this? Was that information Gerald provided you?
There seem to be a few, from what we can tell at least now, that were holy people or magi, and they seem to have some limited control over the feral ones. But the people that they were are gone. I've recognized several of them. It's not them anymore.
What was the population of this town before the dome?
It's hard to say. There are transients, there are traveling merchants,
No, just general, I'm sorry. Is this like a 50-person town or like a 500,000-person town?
Most of the normal town's residents are the people that work the bazaar. They are not. It's not a town as you think of it, where people come and stay and go to taverns and things of that. It's all for shopping.
Okay, about how many people do you estimate were inside the dome when this all went down? On an order of magnitude, is this 5 people? Or is this a big...
500 to 1,000?
Oh, okay. All right.
That is much more than 3, I say, looking at our little trio. Start counting bodies on the ground.
There are probably a couple dozen easily on the ground. And if you recall, he said this was not the only entrance.
Okay, quick math. We got 50 max. Hey, let's go 30. Let's go 30 feral ones outside this entrance. How many entrances did you say there were?
3.
3. So let's go 90. I'm going to round up to 100. And there's 3 types of them. The smart ones, the insta-dead ones, and the feral ones, right? So that's like 300 affected people, at least so far. So like maybe half the town. We could save like half the town. Maybe. It's worth trying.
I would imagine that such a town would be very grateful and interested in showing that gratitude were we managed to figure out a solution to this little problem.
Yeah, well, with rescue efforts, you just always got to ask, are there people to rescue? And I think the answer is yes.
Yes, there are definitely people to rescue.
And I think above the possibility of a discount, there's also it's the right thing to do, right?
If you, the rescuer, go in when there's no one alive left and you and your team die, it's not the right thing to do.
Okay, true. True. Okay, yeah.
No false bravado today.
But it sounds like there's living people left.
There are definitely living people there. You can even see them through the gate. That they're there, but they cannot cross the boundary without suffering the same fate as any gestures to the bodies that are all strewn about.
Whoa, we can watch them? Holy cow. This is some terrible charades.
Can Deli, like, we have this husk that's kind of like right in front of us. Can Deli like get closer, look it over, see if there's something other than just it being desiccated?
Sure. Just a normal, mundane investigation?
No, I'm thinking it looks like a mundane investigation, but it's actually more of like a sneaky investigation, like checking some pockets and not trying to steal, but just trying to get to the bottom of who this person was before they got desiccated.
And that is absolutely fine. Make me a sneaky roll with a difficulty of 3.
Okay. I'm doing a digital roll, and I kind of wish I wasn't. I got a -2, and I've got a +3, so that's 1.
Okay.
Not so sneaky.
So I will give you 2 choices. You can fail, or you can succeed at a cost.
It seems kind of early for a cost, but Deli's all about taking chances. I'll go with cost.
Okay. One of the guards sees you rifling through this person's pockets, and he turns and he goes, "They're not even dead 10 minutes yet. What are you actually doing?"
Deli immediately stands up, puts his hands up. Trust me, if I wanted money, I don't need to look at them for money. I have plenty of that back home. I assure you, I'm trying to, I don't know. I've read in books and things. You're supposed to investigate and check pockets, and there could be magic on them.
I think when you say that you've read in books, Wilford like turns towards you and raises a single eyebrow and is like, just lets out a little shake of his head.
So what I will give you that you do find, since you took the cost, the guards are looking at you a little suspiciously now. This could have been just a common merchant. The clothing suggests the same. The clothing is it doesn't look as desiccated as the person does. Faded, maybe even aged, but not deteriorating. And the same for everything that you would find in the pockets. Even the coin and the money and the trinkets seem to have some form of desiccation or degrading to them.
So it's safe to assume that this could be more of a time thing than a fire, intense heat, because you're not seeing any of the clothes aren't being burned or... Well,
where the clothes are burned, it looks like they were burned by torches and after the fact and possibly by magic. It's the effect on the flesh does not appear to be fire driven. So if you've ever seen things that shrivel, that are alive or were alive, think raisin, think grape to raisin. That's kind of the effect you're getting here.
Deli looks at his companions and says, "These people have been turned into raisins."
Not tasty.
No.
I would not recommend eating one.
No.
Now Leviticus takes a few breaths and he says, will you help us? Will you go in and help us? Please.
Why? Okay, hold on. You got to stop sending people in. I think this is perhaps a flaw in the plan.
I have a plan. I do have a plan. He says, we gave them items that weren't properly enchanted for protection against this magic. It's very entropic or entropic. At least that's what the Archmage believed. I think I have an improvement on what he did, but I don't know how well it's going to work. You're all fire-breathing kittens, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
We got people in safely. We could not get them out again, but I don't know all the details. However, we sent in several items with people. The one that Gerald tried to bring out disintegrated when he crossed the boundary.
So why aren't we just throwing test items through the gate arch to the people we can see on the other side and asking them to test it to come out?
We did. It did not work well. I think it's because the enchantment was on a carried item. You all have markings that mark you as fire-breathing kittens, yes?
Wilford pulls at his collar and shows part of the fire-breathing kitten tattoo.
If I enchant the tattoos with the same protection that the Archmage did on the items, and you can find an additional item or 2 or 3 within the town, that should build up enough protection for you to be able to cross the barrier again if this can't be fixed.
It's a lot of hypotheses for somebody with no regrets about Gerald being, and then I kick Gerald's desiccated corpse. You had a chance, and I appreciate that you tried. We're going to also try in our own way. You have any more friends you want to kill?
What I have out here right now is all I have left to protect these things from getting out and going abroad.
You've referenced the Archmage a couple of times. Where's this fellow?
Yeah, let's talk to the Archmage.
He's inside. He went with Gerald and the group of guards. Gerald was the only one that returned.
Have we tried digging below the ground to see how far the dome goes?
We have not, but you are welcome to try.
You mentioned in your theory that procuring some of these additional enchanted items may give us the necessary layered protection. What's there to stop you from enchanting more objects out here that we can simply take with us?
I can try that, but it will take time. Time that I don't know that we have.
Okay, we'll get started on that. And if there's anything better to do, we can shift priorities, but start now. And you can talk and enchant.
Okay.
Are there additional forces at the other gates that we should rendezvous with to see if they might have additional resources?
From the communication and the runners that we have had and the messages that we have sent, they're very similar forces. I believe I am the only user of magic that is currently outside the city from what was formerly inside.
I know Hefty mentioned digging.
Yes.
Could we go up?
It's
Deli kind of points.
It's a dome over top. So in other words, when you look at it, it's covered on the top and at least on the sides.
But I like this alternative entry. Are there water sewage streams coming out of the city, pipes underground? And can we check a pipe to see if the dome is visible? Because it's a visible dome. We don't have to test it physically. We can see it shimmering. So can we go in a pipe? And so I'm going to propose that in character.
Deli, that's really smart. To try to find an alternate way in than just at ground level. What about the sewers? I've gone in those a lot. I'm a possum. Can we walk up to a sewer and see if that shimmery barrier is there?
And the gentleman thinks and he talks to one of the guards, and the guard points over to an area and he says, the sewers are over there. He points and he says about 300 feet that way is an entrance to the sewer.
That's close. We can check it quickly.
It's not the first time I've crawled through sewage, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
All right. So you guys are going to the sewer?
It's worth a look.
Okay. Yeah. He sends a guard with you and the sewers are actually locked so that people can't just break into the city. He unlocks it for you and opens it and gestures to let you go down.
I can see pretty good in the dark, so I'm just la 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 into the sewers. Oh.
What about everybody else?
I'm happy to follow behind Hefty.
Deli would be waiting to see if there was some space that Hefty couldn't get through, because Deli's all about the small spaces.
Okay. And
Yeah, I am a possum, so I am like 15 inches long in body.
Well, I think 4 feet is the biggest height here. You know.
Yeah, it's Deli.
And
yeah.
And
Well,
these
but
are at
Deli's
least,
like a tube.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, but Deli also stands upright a lot of times, so.
Yeah.
Upright, it's still, you have plenty of space. It's made for somebody, 6 feet or so tall on average. Okay. Now, Hefty's the only one that can see?
I also, as a troll, I have some dark vision.
Dark vision because you're a cave dweller, yes.
Kind of a limited.
Limited,
Yeah,
okay.
Deli would have limited as well.
Okay.
Can ferrets see in the dark? Yeah, they see super good in the dark.
Okay, so you're all on pretty good footing.
Possums see in the dark. Yep.
It's a sewer. It smells horrible. It's,
To humans.
To humans, yes. To humans, it smells horrible. But it smells like a sewer. It smells like waste. And so you're about 300 feet out from where you would guess the walls are. And as you are moving forward, you get within close to where the location of the wall is. And yes, that shimmer does exist down here. It looks a little bit different in the dark. Looks a little more solid for whatever reason in the dark. But it does look, and from what you can see, it looks like it's more of a bubble than a dome.
Well, that was a good thing to check. I'm glad we didn't find that out at the very end of the adventure and curse ourselves.
Okay, what's next?
I'm curious about why it appears more solid down here.
If there's some random slop or a hunk of something floating by that I can grab and just throw at it, I want to see what happens.
Okay. There's stuff down here, stuff that's not necessarily floating, but may have been sitting here for some time that you can definitely throw through. Anything in particular? Animal, vegetable, or mineral?
If there's a bone, bones are very good for tossing.
Okay. You can find a bone easily enough.
I throw it through. Or I should
Okay.
attempt to.
Do you want to tie it to a string and pull it back? Because it seems in and out are different effects.
Yeah, Wilford's like winding up to toss it, and Hefty says, I was like,
Oh, that's an excellent idea.
and I'll find a little something in all my many pockets of my little kind of jumpsuit, some twine that I can take out and affix to this.
Okay. How close are you getting?
Ooh, a bold question. I feel confident I can throw a good-sized bone 10 feet.
Okay.
So I'm going to get at least 10 feet unless I experience some sort of effect on the approach.
Okay. You get within 10 feet, you don't feel anything.
It's important to record everything. If you don't take notes, it's not science. I feel nothing yet. And I'm about to throw the bone. Commencing bone throwing. Toss.
You throw the bone. As it passes the barrier, it seems to get, I guess, scored. It blackens a little bit, as if it's been aged somewhat.
Ah, excellent. That aligns with my theory. I wish I had said something sooner. It would have made me seem even more intelligent and clever. I wonder precisely whether or not this desiccation effect that we're seeing is some sort of rapid aging.
What about when you pull it back?
I shall pull back on the twine.
What's your hypothesis first?
Oh, we've heard that moving through the barrier seems to have this negative effect. I suspect it might turn to dust and crumble as the barrier seems thicker down here.
Test the hypothesis!
Throw
I yank the
bone.
twine.
You yank the twine, and you get only string back.
Ooh, let's not go through here.
You don't see the bone or any part of it come out of the other end, and the string is, again, looks rotted, but it's dry.
I'm curious if I can smell bone and tooth dust has kind of a distinctive odor that once you've smelled it, it sticks with you. Whether there was a disintegrating effect or something else, but I'm curious if that lingers on the air.
No, it does not.
I think we return topside.
Okay, and maybe we can talk the wizard with no name who killed Gerald into testing on inanimate objects instead of people, like we did.
I reach down into the slop and I grab another bone. Be like, we need another bone of a similar kind to test above ground. Science!
I carry one as well. I am a foot long, so, like, not a big one, but...
You know, if you're doing a femur, then that's going to be a problem.
I'd take a little man's skull.
Okay. All right. You climb out, and the guard is still waiting there. He looks very hesitant. He's got a spear pointed at the doorway when you all come out, and he lets out a relief sigh when he sees that you are whole, and he locks.
Don't startle people in a crisis, Hefty. You're prone to get a quarrel in your shoulder.
Locks the gate behind you and escorts you back. And since the wizard didn't say his name, the guard actually walks up and says, Leviticus, they came back okay. And he's sitting down and he's working, looks like he's working in an enchantment over, a shield of some sort, like a small buckler type shield. And while he's doing that, something changes in the air. Have you ever felt static in the air? Or like a charge in the air? That's very similar. It's very tingly. That's what you feel. And you see the dome pulse. And that feeling washes out toward you. And it's draining. Like you get tired a little bit. It's draining. The wizard drops what he's doing. And you hear one of the guards yell, Leviticus, they're coming. He drops the shield and he just braces. And you see about half a dozen of these husks rush out of the gate.
Before we jump into the combat, I have a question about the pulse nature.
Yes, please.
So as this happens, Wilford's focus would shift to the visual shimmering field. And in particular, I want to see if it's possible through arcane means or even just purely visually to gauge, is this a pulse that seems to be like an emanation effect, like center moving outward, or is this a pulse that kind of seems to almost like coast along the outside, so to speak? Particularly trying to get a sense of like, oh, is this an emanating aura that we're dealing with, or is this like a wall or barrier kind of thing, like a magical circle?
Give me a clever roll of difficulty 1, please.
All right. The 6531 gives me a +1 on the roll, and adding that to my 3 clever gives me 4 clever.
Okay. Again, a very, very good roll. But with the scientific nature of Wilford, you get the sense that there is something at the center of this that is trying to grow. So it is an effect that is moving outward. It is emanating. You get a feeling that there is a central point.
Just to clarify, the dome, is the dome the same as the barriers we saw, the sewer, the entrances?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see through it.
So imagine a circle. Okay. And there's a bubble around the circle, and the walls of this city are like the circumference of the circle.
Okay.
And it's like a sphere or a bubble.
Okay. Despite the running husks, and Deli has every reason to be scared. He's staring at the roof, this top of the dome. And he says, it's a long shot. Is there any way we can get up there? Like up above to look down?
Who are you asking?
I'll say my companions, just out loud.
If you're perceiving this, if you could fly, absolutely you could get above it. It's not like a cylinder that goes all the way to the sky. There is definitely a peak to this sphere. So if you could fly, yes.
Okay. He's going to look at Wilford and say, "Do you have anything that can fly? You seem like you make things and have things."
Wilford will reach into one of his pouches and say,
This may help, but we've got incoming.
and kind of like he takes out this small little mechanical apparatus with a whirring propeller blade and just kind of like hucks it up into the air. For those following along at home, he's activating his helper bot, which is a mechanical equivalent or like an artifice equivalent of like the familiar function in many magical systems. And so this little tiny flying bot with a camera with a little like eyeball kind of shutter lens just goes zipping up into the air as Wilford like pulls out this shoulder-mounted apparatus and turns his focus towards the gates where the guards have pointed and said they're coming.
So as I said, about half a dozen of these husks rush out. There are several guards. Are you going to engage, or are you going to let the guards engage?
Wilford plans to assist the guards.
Okay, so you're going to assist the guards. All right.
It's possible for Hefty to make them all take a group action because of the mechanics of Fudge Lite.
Correct.
It says a superb can affect a large area or crowd and last for the entire duration of the scene or encounter.
This is correct.
After you guys' turn, if you want me to try to mop up the rest of them with a song, I can. I'll let you go, though. I won't take your turn.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so.
Yeah, Deli's going to help. He's going to stay behind Wilford since he seems very anxious to help. And Deli's going to be there behind him.
Okay, so how are you both going to help?
I am. Deli is going to distract or try to distract the husks.
So you're going to play prey, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. And Wilford?
I'm going to be some ranged artillery, and so Wilford scoops out just handfuls of like bolts, screws, nuts, dumps them into this little shoulder-mounted backapult, is going to do some suppressing fire, launching just this blast of debris at the husks as they're trying to approach the guards.
Okay.
And when they're done, I'm going to play Take Me Out to the Ball Game and convince them all that through the barrier behind them is an amazing baseball game that they need to go to.
The husks, not the guards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, the guards are distracted.
Okay, so if you're letting the guards take the brunt,
Oh, I wouldn't do that. You guys, I want you to take your turns first, but I don't want to. If I could get them all to walk back through that barrier another 2 times and collapse into dust, I'm going to do that before the guards die.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. No, I think ideally I hit them with the ranged fire before they close to melee, or otherwise the guards are going to get peppered too.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask, because you said you were going to help the guards.
Yeah, we're all working together. We're on the same goal.
Okay. So just for clarity, when you say you're going to help somebody, you improve their role.
Oh, yes. Yes. Within the mechanical function, my goal is to act independently of the guards.
Okay.
Towards the same goal.
Okay. So, and here's what I'll tell you. So there's about half a dozen of these. You are, I'm guessing this backapult is almost like a shotgun type effect?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would think, and this is just me, but you can argue this, I would think this would be either a careful roll because you are targeting, or possibly a quick roll just to get it off before they get in range of the guards. If you have a different argument, I will happily listen to it.
I see the argument for quick. I was thinking careful because I'm trying to make sure that it hits them in the way that it doesn't hit the guards and actually, drives them back, knocks them over. Is helpful in that way.
All right. So give me a careful roll. There is no difficulty to this. It is a contested roll. You roll and the zombies roll. And my guess would be the zombies would be defending with quick, trying not to get hit by your projectiles.
Yeah. All right. Not as good as some of my prior entries. 1, 2, 3, 6 gives me a -1 on the roll, and my +2 on careful gives me a total of 1 against whatever the husks do.
Okay. So the husks got a total of 1 as well. Okay. But on a tie, you're still going to hit them. Okay. You have essentially slowed them down, so they are not going to get to act this turn.
Love it.
Okay. Who's next?
Deli is... I think Deli is helping the guards. Like, is actually doing a help action with the guards. Because I think he is just getting in between, like, kind of rounding them up, like sheepdog kind of thing. If he keeps them all together, then it's easier for the guards to deal with them.
Okay. Now, typically that would be, I would think of that as being either quick or clever, depending on the way you look at it. But it doesn't necessarily need you to roll, because with the help action, the only thing that makes a difference of is what action the people are taking in front of you. So I will take note of that. I've made a roll. So Hefty, if you want to make your action before the guards.
All right, so everybody else is gone. You're okay with like a good minute-long musical performance?
That's fine.
Mm-hmm. All right. Heads up, I don't know how to play the ukulele. Hefty does. In world, this sounds great. But I'm learning the ukulele this year. I try to learn something every year with my characters. So initially I looked up some songs and they were like, oh, these aren't copyrighted songs. And then they were like, copyright law changed. So nothing from the 1960s ever again, because apparently copyright law still covers that. So this is from 1908. And it is Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And it absolutely is not copyright, 100%. So I don't need to change the words or anything. All right. So here's Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And I just want to paint a picture for these dehydrated husks of a time when life was better. They were in the stands with their loved ones, cheering for the team they were rooting for. A ball was soaring through the air, and everyone was hoping that it would get caught or not. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. And then I'm going to roll 4 dice.
So I'm guessing that this is going to be flashy?
Yeah, it's flashy. All those dust zombies can hear me. Dry corpse things. I got a 6, a 4, a 4, and a 1, so that's a +2 overall, plus my 3 flashy is a 5, which is off the scales. It's off the charts.
It is off the scales. But I will tell you in a minute how that works. So, considering the nature of what you are trying to do, I would figure that the zombies, in order to fool this, would have to combat this with clever. Now, fortunately for you, they're feral. So their clever is very low. And that is even worse. I rolled 2 minuses, and they have a -2.
So how does a 5 compare to a -4?
Too many. Now, here I'm going to explain this dynamic because it may come up again. This is a mob here. And this is a mob of very low-level beings. That being said, they do not have an injury track like the player characters do, which means 1 hit and they're done. Okay? So when you exceed by that much, it affects, for each additional, so it takes 1 success, quote unquote, to take 1 out. Okay? You've got more successes than they have people. So all of them turn and go through the portal and vanish.
Have a good game.
And the guards and even the wizard turn to look at you.
Free will's a beautiful thing to control.
Deli takes a step back.
I think you broke Wilford.
Well, that was excellently done, Hefty. However, I think I have bad news.
And again, you flew that thing up there. We'll get to that in a minute.
You have a new hypothesis.
You are that powerful and you won't go in and help save our people?
Oh, no, I'm not powerful. The gate is powerful. I would suggest not walking through it because that's what happens.
I wish it were so simple.
Go ahead, Wilford. Your hypothesis.
I observed the pulse. The dome which currently covers Precopia Agora is growing or attempting to grow. If I have my suspicions, I think that perhaps what we may be dealing with is some sort of nefarious adversary. Perhaps one who has control over time magics, maybe even is willing to annihilate all the mortal entities of the world so that only immortal beings are left. So what I'm saying is whether or not we can save the people in the town, like, if this thing continues to grow, like, we really need to address this at the root.
Root. Could we, like, toss baby corn through and then get, like, big corn and feed the world with it? Are we throwing away an opportunity by destroying this?
Do you have baby corn to test the hypothesis?
Wizard, where's the food? Give me a crop. You got a plant?
Inside.
Oh, I know. I go to the ground and I'm like, just pick up the dandelion, like scoop under it. It's got a really deep root. Scoop the dandelion. Somebody, okay. I have the little paws.
Okay. And what are you going to do with the dandelion?
I'm good at digging.
I have fingers. I think you want a groundhog.
Okay, you get a dandelion.
Thank you, wizard. Okay, and then can someone who can throw this through. If it puffs into seed, then we know that time advanced, and maybe we can make crops.
I will throw the dandelion through to test the hypothesis.
Same 10 feet?
Yeah, let's see. Well, I think I actually have to get... I don't think I can chuck a dandelion 10 feet. That seems pretty unreasonable. So I'm going to move up to the 5-foot range, assuming that I feel no particular effects, and then toss the dandelion through.
You feel a little tingly.
No, I don't like the tingle.
I'm feeling a tingle.
You throw it through, and it desiccates. It wilts.
What happened? What happened, Wilford?
It wilted. I did not observe it going through the seeding stage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's destroy the dome.
Perhaps the dome is more necromantic than anything else. They're just pure death energies.
Ew.
I think Deli shakes his head. I think going in and coming out are two different things for the dome. And if we had have tossed the dandelion the other way, maybe it would have went to seed.
Oh.
Powerful magics indeed.
Hey, people who can hear us past the barrier, because we've been doing all this with people past the barrier. Can you throw us a dandelion?
Or I hear you might have seeds over there. If you have seeds, throw us some seeds.
Yeah, throw us like an oat.
Okay, so, I mean, you see some people in there, and they're looking. When you look in there, and Wilford, you got close enough to see. You got within 5 feet. These people look like they are at the beginning stage of that desiccation. Like they're a little wrinkly, like they've been in the bath for too long, but that's all over. And you ask them, to throw you seeds.
If you have them.
Okay.
Or just a dandelion from the ground. It's not hard.
So you want something living or recently living, basically, like a plant.
Something that has a stage of life left.
Okay. Somebody you see like a guard on the other side, and they run for a minute and come back, and they have like a houseplant. The houseplant inside already looks wilted.
Throw it.
Right. So they throw it, and it doesn't seem to make it past the barrier. It seems to disintegrate before it gets past.
We need something more alive.
I think we might need to just get the enchantments from Lem over there and get to the root of this.
But the enchantments don't work.
Well, they partially work. Sometimes you have to build the plane while you're flying it.
That's no one says that. You shouldn't do that. That's
I thought that was quite a common phrase.
okay, maybe Deli's like kind of like pacing in front of the thing. He doesn't want to keep standing still. He's like, what if okay, I don't know. Am I the youngest amongst us?
I'm 6 months old.
That you're asking that question makes it almost a certainty.
Well, no, Hefty's the youngest.
Age is relative, 6 months in this 3-year lifespan is, that makes two. That makes Hefty middle-aged.
Yeah, Max, really one. I'm pretty middle-aged.
So it's on a scale.
Deli says, what if I went in? I still have quite a bit of life left. So I age a bit. I go inside. I'll only be a bit older. We fix whatever we have to do. We save the town. Then one of the wizards can fix me.
So you're suggesting we throw an enchantment over the barrier to a baby. We make them tie it to the baby, and then we have them throw us the baby back?
Again, no one said that. I don't think that's... I was offering to go in myself, but I mean, a baby would be easier to throw. No.
You could put it in a stroller and just kind of gently push it through the barrier if you're worried about throwing babies.
That's better
I
than
do
throwing
feel like
babies.
Deli might have been onto something about the barrier having multi-directional different effects.
So Leviticus holds up a hand. He says, before the next pulse comes, let me tell you what we've done. I have not been able to get magic to pass the barrier. The Archmage may have been able to do it. I'm not strong enough.
Well, I'm not magic. So all of me should be able to get past
We
the
have
barrier.
had somebody without an enchantment go through. They end up looking like the people that are in there.
Okay. Listen,
They
I've seen
didn't
what wizards can do.
They
Wizards
did
can
not
fix things.
They did not make it out when they tried to
So
come
one
back
person
out
can
again.
carry all 500 enchantments for the rest of the town through?
If we had time to make 500 enchantments, perhaps.
Wilford is pulling down his collar so Lem has access, and he's like,
I'm ready for the application.
He said this should be stronger than what the Archmage did because it's not something you carry. It's more personal to you and it's attached to you. And he places his hand over your tattoo, and there's a slight warmth that comes through, and you feel invigorated. You feel young, but invigorated, like full of life. Anybody else?
Deli points to the back of his neck where the tattoo is. It's
Okay.
like, I offered without the enchantment, so please.
Well, Leviticus does the same thing to you. Again, it's the same. It's warmth, invigoration. Hefty?
I mean, as a player, I like to keep the party from being split up. And I can tell that this is the only option for, like, it's a bit of a, I must do this. So Hefty's tattoo is on her ear. It's black on black.
Okay.
But I don't think Hefty the character would go in. But, like, since she's puppeted by me, you're going in, Hefty. So it's a story.
It's a story.
I think maybe Hefty like freezes up, and Wilford just like picks Hefty up and is like, it's right here, and then just like carry.
Yeah.
It is a good thing to be able to control the free will of another.
Yeah.
That's mean. That's mean.
That's how Hefty gets in.
So you're all enchanted. Do you cross the barrier?
Does my little gadget come back with
Yes.
confirming
Yes.
that the dome is solid over the top?
The dome is solid over the top. There is one additional piece of information that you get.
Ooh.
Ooh. In the middle, there is a column that you cannot see into.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So in other words, it's like a more, it is a more opaque color. And it looks to be like you can see clearly through the dome for most of the dome. But there's a circle in the middle that is darker and opaque that looks columnar, like it's a column in the middle in what would be the center of the town.
It seems
And
that
you
the
see-
center is the place to go.
And I'll even give you this picture. The town is literally a circle. Okay. There are essentially 8 streets going through the town. Okay. And the way it looks like it's broken up from what you are looking from above, it looks like when you walk in, there are stands and tents like a bazaar or a flea market. And then the next street over looks like warehouses and domiciles. and it repeats this pattern 4 times.
So a circle, like kind of with 4 quadrants, so to speak.
Well, no. This is 8 concentric circles.
Oh.
Okay. So shopping, domiciles, and storage. Shopping, domiciles, and storage. Shopping, domiciles, and storage. In addition, you could see that it is split into 3 quadrants: northwest, northeast, and south. So in other words, where the roads come out is there's 3 roads that come out from the middle that go out 3 gates.
And we're currently at the southern...
You are at the northern gate. So
We're at the northern gate.
So the northern road goes down, and then there's northeast, northwest, and then 2 branches off that make 1 southern quadrant.
We'll have to find some protective enchantments and then move to the center quickly before the circle's enchantments can grow more powerful.
Wizard, what did you say we were looking for? We're looking for a thing to add to your magic so that we can get back out. What are we looking for?
I don't know what all the items were, but the way that when the items
You're coming
went
with
through,
us. I don't care. Come with us. Hey, drag him like you dragged me. Guards. He's our only hope.
So you're going to try and get the wizard to go with you.
Only you can recognize the second missing piece.
If we're going with the narrative fiction that that I'm currently holding Hefty, I think I would pull Hefty up closer so I can whisper to Hefty and say,
Hefty, I think the thing that will cue us in to someone else having a protective enchantment will be that they will not be withered. Also, I'm worried that Deli may run into a moral crossroads that they're not able to cross. You and I will have to figure that out when we get there, because we might be condemning these people to husking.
Yeah, okay, the wizard already killed Gerald, so he's due for condemning himself, and I think I'm not capable of combining magic stuff. Can you mix part 1 and part 2 and protect us for surezies? Because the wizard can. Why wouldn't the wizard come with us?
No, I think you just, take it. I think it's like a magic object that you just...
Yeah, that worked for Gerald.
Well, he had one, but he needed more than one, and we're going to go take them
so,
from people who are currently
it?
safe.
Yeah. Why wouldn't the wizard come with us?
I think it's because of the deadly effect of this barrier.
You're our only hope, though, wizard.
Also because he is responsible for containing any more that get out.
I am 1 foot tall and very... Oh, wait, I have a ukulele.
While this conversation's going on, Deli's right at the very edge of the force field, waiting to go in.
Are you going to go through the northern gate? So you're at the northern gate. You can go through any of the gates. There's a northern gate. There's a southeast and a southwest gate. But if you're going through the easiest one here, that's fine.
I think I don't want to split. I personally don't want to split the party, but I also think that Deli would think there are 3 entrances and there are 3 of us. And in Deli's mind, because all he knows is what he's read in books, if there are 3 entrances and 3 people, then they should all go to 1.
Goodbye, Deli.
Deli's going to go into the easiest one. He's going to go into the northern one.
Deli walks through the barrier. Now, Deli, when you walk through the barrier, you feel a tug right where that tattoo is, but you do not wither. You feel pull, but you are hale and whole.
He checks himself over and he's like, "Oh, still young. Good. I didn't really want to age, but if I had to, I would have."
And Leviticus, the wizard, says, "Don't come back through without an item."
No.
Hey, Leviticus.
Yes?
Imagine Leviticus and Gerald. You think about the Leviticus and Gerald. It's only right to think about the assistant that you used to have and work together. So happy together. Remember when you and Gerald used to work for the Archmage, and you guys would spend your days together. You were friends. Don't you think you owe it to dead Gerald to find the missing piece for us so we don't end up like him? So happy together. Come with us, Leviticus.
So you are trying to charm him, is what you are trying to do.
No, I'm trying to guilt him.
You're trying to guilt him?
If you had gone with Gerald, Gerald would still be alive. Gerald would have recognized the second piece. It wouldn't have come back with the wrong one. It's true. And you can't hide the truth. You're not ready for the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Leviticus says, my current responsibility is to keep everybody out here safe.
Immovable gem. I'm moving on. I'm through the barrier. Leviticus can die at the end of this, hopefully. And hold hands with Gerald in the cemetery.
Okay.
I also moved through the barrier.
Okay. Again, no ill effects other than the tug on where your tattoo is. Now you walk in and you can go forward, you can go left, you can go right. So which way do you want to go? Oh, and there's 2 things that I owe you, but I'll give it to you after we go left and right or forward.
I noticed that both of you perhaps have good olfactory senses. Perhaps you could. I heard you say, Hefty, that the husks smelled wrong. Could you perhaps guide us to someone who still smells right?
I mean, why would we follow roads? I don't understand, you guys. Like humans, I just go over fences and around yards and through. Like, what are roads? Like, just go to the circle. It's a circle. Go to the middle.
I try to climb a fence.
But we need the things on the way.
If you're climbing the fence, I'm going to follow you.
So which fence are you climbing? So again, it's a circle.
Yeah, to the middle.
Well, you can go straight to the middle down this road.
That's the plan. We got to get there before the pulse. This is a timed thing. So now
Right.
we're inside the pulse area, and about 1 out of every 3 or I don't know, there's a percentage of us that are going to get turned into mindless husks with each pulse. So my goal is to minimize the time that I am inside here, and I'm going to go straight for the middle because that's probably where the artifact is that we need.
Really, it was probably wise that we waited until after a pulse, so that we have the biggest, window of opportunity before the next one.
Yeah, it was planned.
Okay. And again, when you come in here, most of the people are listless. I mean, the guards look at you and they realize their condition and your condition.
You should all restrain yourselves so that you do not come for us when you are mindless husks.
And they just look at you strangely and,
I don't want to kill you.
Deli goes over to one of the guards and asks for his sword, whatever his main defense item is.
And he looks down and, he has a short sword on his hip, and he takes the short sword out. It's not in the best condition. It's a little rusted. It's a little pitted.
It's better than nothing.
But you have a short sword.
Good. Deli has no idea what to do with it, but he's happy that he has it.
The pointy end goes into the other person.
Yeah, he's standing there kind of making little jabbing motions with the sword.
Deli, we need to go to the middle. Come on, over the fence. Deli, I'm not leaving you behind. Deli, no ferrets left behind.
So
I wish these were tubes instead of walls.
So there is no fence. So you're going to go right down the road. Okay.
I don't road. I just climb over houses and stuff and gaps.
So what I'm saying is
6 inches big.
The path to the middle is right in front of you. You can just go straight if you want to. There is
that
no
the northeast
there's no
or the northwest one. It's the
the
south
north
one?
the north entrance that you went through. There is a straight line to the center.
Let's go down the straight line to the center.
Okay. So you head towards the line to the center. You're passing a lot of things. So as you're going through, you see the first area looks very much like a flea market. There's a lot of different items on either side of you. You pass that, and there seem to be a lot of common housing that is not the best. Probably the less wealthy area of the town. You get to the next, and this might even interest Hefty. You smell a lot of rotted food. And if you take a moment to look side to side, it looks like there were like food stalls and things of that nature, and then more housing and warehousing. Then you pass another set of areas, and it looks like there are craftspeople, things like smithies and other things like that around that set of circles. And then you get to that darker column that Wilford saw.
Oh, already?
This is the straight line.
Yeah. So just to clarify, because from the visual above, there were kind of 8 concentric circles.
Right.
And
so
we've
first circle, common flea market bazaar.
Yep.
Second
so this
circle.
is like the 6th one.
It would be going into the 7th is where that column starts.
Okay, yes.
Okay. So, second, not so wealthy housing, poor housing, at least from what you could see. Third circle, eateries, food, that kind of stuff. Fourth circle, more storage, a little bit better than the first. Okay. Warehousing, storage, housing, better. Fifth circle, it looks like craftspeople. Okay. Sixth circle looks like better housing, wealthier housing. And then you hit at the 7th circle, that opaque column.
Well, we don't want to go through that until we've found some more protective layers.
As we went through town, can I have been performing a song on my ukulele about how people should restrain themselves so that their dearest loved ones don't have to put them down?
Yes, you can. You can offer some traveling music. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, as you get ready to do that, we are hitting the halfway mark.
Oh, I'm not going to perform it. I'm just saying, like, Hefty in character
Yes. Oh, yeah,
was
yeah,
performing the "Don't Make Your Spouse Kill You" desiccated corpse song.
That is definitely a good thing. And
When you're dried out, you don't want to eat your child.
It's going to be a chart topper one day.
one day, it's the movie theme. It's a theme for the movie version. If you want to make that roll, that flashy roll now, and I'm not going to put a value, just tell me how many successes you get, and then we will break.
+1 overall.
So +1 overall, so you rolled 2
Negative
minuses.
2, and I have a +3.
Okay. So I will
I don't
will
actually care
definitely
about the
note
outcome of these people. I care that I tried.
that. I understand. All right. And with that being said, now that you have hit this secondary barrier, we are going to go to break. So, joining us for the first half were Deli,
Hi.
Hefty,
Don't eat your own kids when you're a dry corpse.
and Wilford.
There's got to be some protective enchantments around here somewhere.
And Deli, you had a message for us.
Oh, leave us a review on iTunes and we'll read it on air.
Thank you very much, and please join us for the second half.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is, quote, "Big thanks to my editor, Sanjay. Thank you for handling my novel and getting it reviewed on time. I wouldn't meet my deadlines without you. And so many plot holes." End quote. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com. Did you know we have paperback, ebook, hardcover, and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible? Is there an episode of Fire Breathing Kittens that would make someone you know smile? Telling them about it would help us. Thank you.
Welcome back to the second part of our live play of the Fudge Lite system. We don't assume that you have been listening. Maybe you've been using us for emotional support noise in the background. So I have randomly chosen Wilford to give us the summary of the first half.
I am prepared. So our story began as the fire-breathing kittens received an invitation to the bazaar of Procopia Agoria, who recently stocked the renowned Hefty dolls for sale. And so we were each given personalized coins as a means of transportation and instructed to go to an archway which would transport us to a place where a carriage would receive us and then take us to the town itself. As we were traveling, we were chatting. It was lovely. But then there was a commotion, and we stepped outside and we found that there was some sort of conflict at the city gates. It was a large walled city. There was a shiny dome that had erected itself around the area, and there were husks of desiccated individuals all around. Wizards blasting lightning and guards fighting for their lives. A standard day in the life of a fire-breathing kitten. We got out, we spoke with the wizard, Lemnicus, and he told us about how this dome had arrived unexpectedly, and that it had started changing the people, withering them, and that people were dying.
And he said that he got us here under false pretenses to save his town instead of sell my toy plushies. Continue with your story.
Oh, that's interesting. I interpreted that differently. I thought, but yes, it could be, yes. One way or another, we found ourselves here and thought that either there might be a substantial reward for our behavior or that it might be the right thing to do. There were mixed intentions behind our operations, but we decided to investigate. And so we started by seeing if there was a different means of entrance to the city. We headed down to a sewers. They unlocked the gate, allowed us to go in. Very stinky. We found that there was the barrier did continue underground, seemed stronger down in the sewers somehow. We did some experimentation, throwing a bone through, just disintegrated the bone on its return through. When we later were upside above ground, we wondered if perhaps there is a dual nature that going through the barrier one way creates one effect and a different effect proceeding outward. We come back out. Over the course of our conversations with Lem above and below and then back above ground, we found out that there had been actions by the Archmage to provide enchantments to some members of the city in order to go inside and investigate. When those people returned and sought to come back out, they were destroyed. With the exception of Gerald. Gerald turned into a husk. He was not destroyed. His body was still there. We tried searching it. Didn't find anything of meaning or full value. But we decided, we spoke with Lem further. He said that there may be a way that he could apply the enchantment.
And Gerald said the inner circle was impassable, so we're gonna not be able to get in it.
Yes, the enchantments that they have the capacity to produce were not sufficient to get into the inner circle, and so both for that reason and for the disintegrating upon leaving the city reason, we need to find multi-layered sets of enchantments, and that Lem believed himself capable of affixing this enchantment of invigoration to our fire-breathing kitten tattoos themselves as a means of layering into the innate magical effects of those. As we were discussing the rationality of actually entering this death city, there was a pulse that emanated outwards from the magical innards and created this enervating wave of loss of energy. And another wave of husks left out from the city. A quick conflict and some magical means by Hefty saw those husks destroyed by the powers of the dome itself. And then we once again commenced a debate about the wisdom of going in, committing ourselves to this. Wilford, I myself, believe that this may be a magical enchanting effect that was growing and that was possibly going to create problems whether we went in or not. And so between that advocacy and the desire to help people and possibly get reward, we eventually found our way to getting these enchantments from Lem, trying to get Lem to come with us. He was very uninterested in that himself, which made us somewhat question the wisdom of it for ourselves, but then proceeded to go inward. There was a nice thoroughfare that just headed straight from the northern gate all the way to the center. So we just walked very quickly towards where we found the opaque inner central barrier. And that is where we find ourselves. Is there anything I missed?
I think Hefty gave some traveling music to encourage the people not to attack or to restrain themselves, if I recall correctly.
Specifically, if you have handcuffs, handcuff yourself around a pole so you can't pull yourself loose and eat your own loved ones. If you've got rope, tie yourself down so that when you go mindless, you don't rip the head off your pet dog.
Okay, so and that's where we are. So what is next for our fire-breathing kittens?
We are currently standing at an impassable barrier in the inside of the city.
It is an inner barrier. It is a column that is past what we have described. It stops or blocks after the sixth circle of the city.
Do I see something around me that is of throwing size for a 1-foot possum?
There are certainly stones, absolutely.
No, but like an ageable thing.
An ageable thing.
Stones age?
Okay, I toss a stone through it.
So you toss the stone, and it actually impacts the barrier and drops.
Gerald, you're the most trustworthy person here.
Who is Gerald?
Yeah, I know you don't care.
Wilford looks around over his shoulders and he's like, I think that perhaps we need to go into one of these rings, perhaps the most profitable of which might be either the ring of elegant houses that we're in, or going back a layer to the craftsfolk and seeing if we can find someone who has an enchantment of protection that we could borrow for a time.
Wait, so you want to get an enchantment from the people who don't have enchantment? That was Lamnicus. That was the one with the enchantments.
Yes,
These
but he
people
said the
don't have
Archmage also came into the city. So there's perhaps the Archmage is still here. There's other members that came with Gerald. Gerald had one layer of protection. We need to find someone like Gerald who's still in the city, not dead, take their enchanted artifact, and then
go back to finding the Archmage. I like that idea, too.
I'm down with that idea. I'm worried the Archmage is on the inside of that barrier, corrupted in some way. But that might be my general paranoia about things.
You know what we need is a really flashy display that everyone in the entire city who is or is not the Archmage can see and then can contact us if they are or are not the Archmage. Do you guys want a concert?
I see no reason not to.
Concert would work. We could also get fireworks for the concert.
Yes,
one of these stalls might have it.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna fireworks, concert, and Wilford. How are you gonna get the attention of the Archmage?
I actually plan to keep an eye out for threats. I did hear that there were some semi-intelligent husks that were perhaps controlling the mindless ones, and that seems vaguely reminiscent of things I've heard regarding whites and such things. So I will be providing defensive.
Fortifications. Okay, so we've got one person on the sky level visually. We've got one person on the sound level in 3 directions. And we've got one person on fortification so that the only person getting to us is the Archmage. I like it. So let's go up like a stairway or something like that. And then we can drop boiling oil on the desiccated husks.
I'm very in favor of this being a rooftop concert.
Rooftop concert, yes. Okay.
Okay. So which rooftop are you going to choose? Where will you find the fireworks?
I think we should go to the craftsfolk stalls to see if we can find someone with either fireworks directly or perhaps gunpowder.
I think we should go there, but we could also go to like where the smithy might be, which I don't remember if that's part of the craftsfolk or not.
Same section, correct.
Okay, good. They might have things that can be repurposed into explosions.
Somebody's building a pipe bomb.
Okay.
I mean, firework.
Explosives.
I'm not intending to explode something.
The ferret wants a pipe.
So are you going to the sale stalls or are you going to the warehouses and the homes? Because there are 2 areas for the craftspeople. And then choose south, northwest, or northeast.
I propose we go to the stalls because things will be visibly on display. And if we're in the warehouses, we might have to be raiding through chests or boxes or something else that will slow us down.
And we'll be closed in.
All right.
So you're going to the stalls, the bazaar. Are we going south, northwest, or northeast location?
I will start moving towards the northeast location if neither of my compatriots makes a move first.
I have absolutely no preference. I actually could ride on your shoulder.
I'm on board with this.
I will follow.
Right.
I'll keep an eye out while accompanying you both.
Okay. So the northeast sector is, when you get there, is mostly smithies and things of that nature. You see a lot of areas of armor, weapons, and things of that nature. Although, like many of the items you have seen, there's a lot of rust, there's a lot of pitting. It looks like these things have aged or deprecated over a long period of time. Anybody who is interested can make me an investigation type roll. Just tell me what method you are using.
I heard that this bazaar has things beyond your wildest imaginings, and so I'm looking for things of an arcane nature that may have, even before the Archmage started applying enchantments, have some sort of resistance to this enervating effect.
All right, so make me a roll. I would think Well, you can use anything you want. It depends on your methodology.
Yeah, as much as I'd love to use that +3 in clever, I'm kind of imagining that this is like a careful roll, that I'm looking with a particular eye for things that seem to have resisted the weathering and pitting effect.
In that case, if you were using a careful roll, please give me a roll at a 2 difficulty challenge.
All right. Rolling my 4d6 gives me 1, 3, 4, 6 for a flat roll, and I've got a +2 on my stat, so I get 2 for my roll. Or for my check.
At a 2 difficulty, you have met your roll. As you are combing through some of these stands, you see a hilt that does not look as pitted, rusted, or damaged as the other items in the area.
I look to grasp it. Is it attached to anything?
It is attached to a blade that is somewhere between a dagger and a short sword. So a very long dagger.
Ah, well sized.
And it is, as I said, it is clean. It does not look to have taken any damage at all.
Ignoring the risk of potential curses, because we're in a bazaar, so presumably these things are ready for sale, I'm going to grab it and attempt to discern the nature of this sword.
Okay. Again, sword dagger depends on your size. Probably would be a decent sized sword for the gathering here at their size. It is a runed blade, but there are several runed blades here. None of them would be magical or not otherwise. There are ones that are pitted. But like I said, the interesting thing about this one is it looks brand new. It looks freshly smithed. It does not look like it has fallen to the effects of this stone.
I show it to my compatriots and I say, something like this, I think. If we can find more objects that have resisted the effects thus far, that perhaps their cumulative effect will allow us to pierce that barrier.
Okay, so wouldn't that be a good question to ask the Archwizard?
I'm not opposed to just finding the Archwizard. I'm just saying this is, as we're looking, we should be keeping an eye out for such things.
I thought we were looking for a rooftop concert venue that was defensible from the Whites, dry husk people.
Swords are good for defense. This is very on brand for what we're doing.
Okay, can we find a defensible position to do a concert and fireworks from, and then ask the Archwizard about this unrusted hilt?
I'm in favor of this.
Okay.
Surely you must have some sense of what would be for a good rooftop, your knowledge of acoustics and amplification.
I'm just waiting for fireworks to be found. Yeah.
Deli would be looking, rooting through very, I'm going to say cleverly, but very haphazardly. He's not looking at the smithy side as much as a gun range,
black powder and things of that nature.
Yeah, but he's more so looking for guns that might already have powder in them and boxes of powder. So things that are contained within something strong.
Understood. Give me that clever roll. That's fine, because you're looking for something intelligently rather.
That would be I got a +1 on the roll, and my clever's +2, so +3.
So that is +3. You do find enough material from what is found for the smithy to make rudimentary fireworks.
Excellent.
Now, if you are looking for a tall building, Hefty, the ones one circle over, those houses are taller than what the ones are that you passed earlier in the circles.
Speed is my priority. The next pulse will kill one of us, so I want to get not here by then. So level of caring for height, minimal. Level of caring for speed, maximum.
Well, so you can go one in either direction. You can either go...
I'm standing right here unless someone throws me in the air, man.
What
it's
I
up
mean
to Wilford to say if it's defensible or not. Wilford, is this defensible?
Oh, let's go up a building.
Run me there. Run.
I will activate my gravitic field boots and go charging up the next building.
Okay. So are you going closer to the center or close or out?
I guess turning in towards the center.
Towards the center. Okay. As you are running through here, okay, going towards, I would like for any of you to make me a roll to notice something out of place.
My head is stuffed in an armpit as I'm carried like a football.
I've well established my wariness and paranoia. I'll make a clever roll if I can do so.
Okay, that would be fine.
With a 2, 4, 4, 5, that's going to be a total of 3 on my clever trait check. Because I've got a +3 and I've got a flat on the roll.
2, 4, 4, 5. Yes, that is flat. I had to think about that for a minute. Sorry. So you got a +3. You hear as you're climbing the building something. You hear 2 sounds. One that is resonant, very pleasing to the ears, and one that is dissonant. And the resonant sound is coming from the northeast quadrant, and the dissonant sound is coming from the southern quadrant as you were climbing.
I freeze and I say, "Shh, Hefty, do you hear that?"
Yeah? We know that it's a town, honey. There's other people. It's
I thought
gonna
all the
be
people
part
are
of things.
listless.
Okay. So the only way to filter through all these wonderful things around us is to defensively attract the Archmage. There's a lot of stuff around us. Isn't that fantastic? Too bad we'll die in 5 minutes when the next pulse happens and you'll have to fight off Hefty.
Do you think that the noises might maybe to do with the pulse? Maybe it's like, I don't know, powering up? Is
That would
this
be
our
a great
warning?
question for the Archwizard. Don't you think?
Well, yes. But until we can find him, I feel like we need to ask each other questions to try to figure out what this could. I'm assuming Deli's following them, holding a bunch of like gunpowder. All I'm saying is, I don't know how much we trust the Archmage, just in general, and maybe those sounds might be important.
So Hefty, do me a favor and make me a roll, a notice roll, something that would notice.
I would autofill my head as in an armpit.
Okay. I didn't know if Wilford pulled you out and
like
Wilford pulled you out and said, listen, that's why I made the offer. So, okay. Continue.
I am aware that we are in a town full of very interesting magical gadgets, Wilford, and very exciting things to explore, Ferret Deli. But we're also going to die the next time the pulse goes off. So, I know that as player characters we won't, but as people in this world, there's no reason for us to assume we have plot armor. And it's been converting a percentage of the people into husks with every pulse. So I'm just genuinely role-playing as a person in the world who doesn't know that they're controlled by a fourth dimensional narrative being telling a good story. And I'm assuming that the next pulse is going to get one of our party. So I'm doing this to save your lives and mine. That's what the rush is for.
We do have the protective enchantments, so we might be in a different state than the average common folk here.
Okay, but if you want to faff around and explore magical artifacts and sounds coming from a city, I mean, we can. We could also do that with the Archmage, you know? It's all about whatever your priority is, I will share.
As we're climbing, so that Deli's not slowing people down, would he notice any of these people nearby, just on the street or near to the big column, that have been aged?
Give me, is there any particular area you're looking at, and give me a perception roll?
Specifically, the closer to the pillar.
Okay.
Are there fewer people closer to the pillar?
There are fewer people closer to the pillar.
Okay. So
you have seen less and less people as you have moved inward. Okay.
And no husks.
You have not seen them yet. No. However, when you make the top of the building, you can give me a perception roll and I will tell you what you see from the height that you are at.
Okay.
Go ahead. So if you're continuing your ascent, then please go ahead.
Yep, I'm following both of them. So
okay,
they keep climbing, I keep climbing.
So you're at the top of some of these stalls and things of that nature. Not too hard to get up there.
I'll do a clever roll.
Okay.
He's not being sneaky at all about it. Okay, I got a -1 on the roll. And then my
Okay.
clever's +2, so I've got a +1.
You got a +1. You also have height.
Yes.
So from where you are right now, you see in the area that you are in, you see a collection of short folk. They don't seem to be completely husks, but you see short folk in the area they are. The area at the northwest, you don't see any people really. And then the area to the south, you do see a collection of what could be husks. And this is around the 6th circle.
Okay.
Okay.
So Deli would kind of point that out to Wilford, and if Hefty is able to see, then Hefty as well. It doesn't... I thought my hypothesis was that maybe being closer to that central column is actually safer than being further away. But I guess if there's husks in the southern quadrant, that can't be the case.
So you also see them one over in the northwest section of the 5th circle. You also see husks.
So the husks are just the south quadrant.
Well, no, you have a set in the south
Oh, okay.
around 6 and a set in the northwest around 5.
Okay. Yeah. Still, I don't think. Deli says I don't think my hypothesis is correct. I thought maybe the obvious was actually the safest, or the unobvious was the safest.
All right. So you want to have a concert and you want to set off fireworks from this height.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Wilford is on watch. Deli is setting off fireworks, and I'm guessing Hefty is providing the music.
Yep.
All right. So I will ask for a perception type roll from Wilford, a crafty type roll from Deli, and a performance type roll from Hefty. Okay.
My clever roll with a 6643 bumps my 3 trait to a 5 rating.
Okay. You will see anything coming from any direction with that roll.
Excellent.
Deli.
I made a careful roll for the crafting because it's gunpowder.
That makes sense.
I think I may be using one of my fudge points because I rolled a -4,
Okay.
and then my careful is 0. So
This would be a wonderful use of a fudge point. So if you could tell me, you have gifts, you have a background, you even have a flaw that you might be able to leverage. Which of those would you like to leverage, and why to use your fudge point?
definitely, Deli has a very short attention span. Probably shouldn't have been the one dealing with the gunpowder. So he definitely gets distracted by a noise, or like maybe Hefty is tuning up the ukulele or something, and completely sets off a small portion of gunpowder before he's able to build it into a proper firework.
Accepted. I will definitely take that fudge point.
Cool.
Please re-roll your dice.
Much better. I got a +3 on the roll. So that with a 0 careful, that's 3.
You have something that's going to make a very big bang and not blow up in your face.
Excellent.
So the question is what comes first, the music or the fireworks? You're going to make the noise to attract things to Hefty, or is Hefty going to make the noise and then you're going to attract people with the firework?
I think the music should come first, and then the fireworks to draw in any stragglers.
Can
Fair.
the fireworks spell Archmage in the sky?
I mean, Deli thinks that he could do that.
With a 3, considering I was considering the difficulty at a 1, yes, I believe you can spell out Archmage.
Great. Big red letters up in the sky. Red and black alternating. I'm pushing my luck. That says Archmage. And then like a badly drawn arrow.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do some music and then roll to see how that's received. Okay. Everything in life should have a pace. Aging faster than that is speeding. Traffic crimes are illegal. So slow down. Our
Archmage, join us and combine your wisdom with ours.
Okay.
And then Deli lights the fireworks.
All right. Make me a flashy roll, please. And add a +1 to your roll because of the fireworks and the quality of the fireworks.
Whew. A -1 on the roll. Plus the 1 is -1. And then I have -1. So it's -2.
Oh, no, I meant Hefty's flashy roll.
Oh, sorry.
A 5 is a +2. A 4 is a +0. A 2 is a -1. A 1 is a -1. So that's -2 minus +1 is 1. Wait, no. -2 +1 is -1 to my 3. That's a 2 overall. And then the fudge ladder says a 2 is still great. That is long range sight distance, so everything I can see. And long duration entire scene encounter and large area crowd.
Correct. Okay. So you make this large explosion. And it takes a few minutes, but Wilford is on watch. And Wilford, you see some interesting things. You see some people gathering. Some of the husks do also pay attention. You specifically see coming from the northwest area someone you believe you recognize.
Who do I spy?
You spy a older, slightly bent gentleman in robes.
Slightly bent gentleman in robes. I've known many a robed figure from my days at the academy.
As they get closer, you recognize the nature of the robes and of the person, the gait of the person. As a matter of fact, coincidentally, their name is Person.
Person?
Who was a religious sage.
Oh, yes. Out there, I met him when he was telling me about the snakes.
Correct.
Ah, yes. I wonder what he's doing down here.
What's the with the husk activity? Does it look like has a straight line to us, or does it look like he's going to encounter husks before he gets to us?
It looks like he is behind one set of husks. But you do see other persons coming along, which makes it even all the more interesting. You see somebody that looks very much like Deli, or very similar to Deli.
Deli, I spy another ferret person out there.
Oh, it can't be. It's probably a weasel person or a other musculatid. There's not that many ferrets, I'm told.
I'll attempt to kind of point out to Deli.
Look over there. See if you can spy what I spy.
Make me a perception roll, please.
So that would be clever, I guess.
Clever, absolutely works.
Okay.
Yes.
I got a 0 on the roll, and then I've got a +2. So a +2.
+2 will be more than sufficient. There is something very significant to this person that you see that brings it to your mind immediately.
Would I be able to tell from this distance if it's a female ferret?
It is not a ferret.
Oh, a river otter, perhaps.
It is an otter with a silver mohawk. They are coming from where you were along your line, closer to the gate.
Deli just immediately brushes himself off and is trying to act, I don't know, tough. And he kind of points and says, "That's Blaze. That's my mentor. We have to make sure he's okay."
There are no husks in that path.
Okay.
Right. And the additional person that you see, other than some commoners that kind of stands out, is a gnomish gentleman, about 3 feet tall, coming from the southerly quarter. It's not somebody, Wilford, that you recognize. Deli, it's not somebody that you recognize. I don't know if Hefty is also looking to find if the Archmage is coming.
Eyesight for possums
is horrible. Yes, I know.
Yeah, so I can look, but I'm just going to be pointing my head in that direction.
I'm guessing you have a negative to those perceptive traits for that particular reason. But yes, other than that, you see one set of husks, and those 3 people as well as some others. You don't see anybody who looks archmagely.
What is the gnome garbed in? Is there any sense of profession or role?
You cannot see hair from up here. Could be a gnome, could be a halfling. It is somebody in a black suit and a bowler hat. And it's hard to tell the level of deprecation because of the color of the garment. He does seem to be using a walking stick.
Quite the dapper individual over there.
He has a walking stick. Maybe that means he's, I don't know, professional, important.
Also has something tucked under his arm. The other arm, the one not holding the walking stick.
He looks like the kind of gentleman that my father would hold meetings with. He looks important.
So, are you staying where you are? Are you moving down? What are you doing?
As I report to my compatriots, no sign of the Archmage. Not yet, anyway. I think we should head towards one of these individuals, see if they have some additional intel that might be of use. Perhaps they have interacted with the Archmage.
Aren't they all heading to us? And we're in the middle, so like triangulation, like cell phone towers. If we go in any one direction, someone's going to have to go longer. The shortest path to us is for us to stay still.
Correct.
That would be true if there weren't enemy combatants between us and some of these individuals.
Right, so that boiling oil, did we prepare that?
That would have been good in the food area, but I don't think you stopped there.
What do we have for defenses again? We're on the high ground. We can drop stuff on their head. Got rocks?
I've got many loose metal objects.
He's got many loose metal objects. There are also stones that you could probably gather from the smithies. You could attempt to tear bricks off of the top of the building. They are stone buildings or brick buildings. So you have the rusty sword that Deli has. You have the blade that Wilford has found. You have his bacapult.
Yes.
You still have some explosives from the fireworks, unless you want to use them for fireworks again. So those are your defensible items.
I would be interested in taking some of these fireworks and trying to do a long-range detonation on that group of husks between us and
Oh, do you want a ranged attack?
That is my idea, yes.
Okay, do you want me to sing them a lovely song?
Oh, yes, if you could kind of get them clumped all nicely together, maybe doing a group hug, if you could inspire that would work well.
I can get them to walk through a barrier, my friend.
Oh, well then maybe direct them to move away out towards the outer gate.
I can do that. Jim, I'm going to do a quick song and a quick roll.
Okay.
With my 3 base, as long as I don't negative myself, I am superpowered in this game. So I'm going to try to get them to just go away. As many positives as I have negatives, and I'll end up with a 3 overall, so let's find out. That's a 6, a 5, a 4, and a 1. So that's an overall net positive 1. So it's a 4 overall to tell the husks,
go.
Okay. And I will make a roll for the group. Now, I've already mentioned in your previous experience that the feral husks are very unaware.
You're fine, Wilford. I have a ukulele.
Truly a powerful weapon.
So, you see 7 beings down there. 4 of them peel away and do exactly what Hefty wants them to do. 3 of them, 1 that looks feral and 2 that look cautious, are still coming.
Coming our way.
Can Deli, throw an explosive first?
yes.
Yeah, he does it everybody's paying attention to Hefty playing the song. And meanwhile, Deli is making a tiny little, very cartoony looking little bomb, kind of very haphazard. I'm going to do a sneaky roll and got a 0 on my sneaky roll, but I have a +3 to sneaky. So I have a 3.
So you've got 3. Okay. So your bomb lands and one of the remaining 2 stops moving, blows up and stops moving. You do hit all 3. They are slowed, but the last 2 are still coming.
Well, they're slower now, and I got to use a bomb. So
yes,
it's a win-win.
You got to blow things up. Wilford, if you have an action, take an action, and then after that, they will be at the base of the building where you are.
I shall use my catapult with some more loose metal shrapnel.
Okay. Are we being careful so it doesn't fly wide, or are we doing another method this time?
Being careful, so that way it's a concentrated, and it's the Bacapult is designed for kind of wide spread, so I'm tinkering with it a bit on the fly to narrow the aperture. With a 6611, that's going to be a flat roll. Added to my +2 for careful is a 2 check.
2 check. All right. And the husks rolled very poorly. They rolled a 0 and 3 negatives. So your Bacapult actually pelts them with metal. And after several peltings, they just kind of stop moving and collapse.
Direct hit.
They look a little bit different than the feral husks. They look like they were being more careful.
Perhaps closer inspection is in order.
But you have cleared the husks in the immediate area that you have drawn the attention of. And you have 3 incoming persons, as well as a few random people that look a little bit more like the common folk that are servicing here and guards. But 3 people that stand out from the attention that you have garnered.
Perhaps we continue to play them in. And, Deli, if you could keep an eye out, I'm going to go down and replenish some of my stock with random scrap.
All right.
I'll keep an eye out.
If there are no rolls that want to be made, I know that you want to replenish your ammunition, Wilford. If you want to make a roll to do that, when you are done your roll, the people will have arrived, and you will probably meet them there.
Yeah. And I will do that. I'm gonna just say, I think appropriate to say I'm doing it quickly. Like I'm kind of looking. I was like, I don't need anything particularly fancy. I just need to grab stuff.
Quickly is fair.
All right, tossing the dice. Excellent. With a 5-5-5-3 and a +1 for my trait, that's going to be a total of 4.
You are absolutely fully reloaded. And while you are making that, you have these 3 people approach. Now, person, you do recognize. He does look wrinkled. He looks wrinkled. He was already old when you met him, but he is even more wrinkly than you remember. And his voice is very much like a rasp. So not only does he sound old, but he sounds weak.
You look awful. What are you doing here in Procopia Agora?
I was here to meet the hierarch, Threm Bolat.
Threm Bolat?
Yes. He is the lead. He is the religious leader of the town. He found something of a prophecy himself, and he and I were going to discuss prophecies.
Did Threm give any indication of what this prophecy might entail?
Something about some sort of a death god, or a god of entropy.
Wilford kind of looks around at just everything.
Seems like a good prophecy, or an effective prophecy. Seems like a poorly timed prophecy.
What brings you here? Are you here about this? You look much better than everybody else.
Yes, the town called in the fire-breathing kittens in one manner or another, and so we are seeking to stop this before it gets worse.
Oh, if anybody knows anything, Threm would know. He's in the center of the city. That's where the temple is.
Don't suppose he's a short feller with a dapper outfit?
No, very tall, taller than I am, younger too. Now, the dapper gentleman does show up. He is a gnome, and he does not look as wrinkled. Well, for a gnome, gnomes are somewhat wrinkled sometimes. He does not look. He's middle-aged, about 3 foot, mustache and sideburns. He's very tan, blue eyes. And he comes up and he says, "I recognize that music." Under his arm is cradled a stuffed opossum. He walks up and he says, "I know that music. That's Hefty's music. I know that ukulele anywhere."
Spot on.
I didn't know she was caught up in all this. I'm the one that invited her, got her invited so that we could go over these. And he holds up the possum. Now, the possum is not desiccated at all.
Clothes, hilt, possum plushies, string maybe.
Is that like a riff for a new lyric you're working on?
Those are the things that haven't desiccated.
And the third person to show up is indeed an otter with a silver combback mohawk. They look a little withered, but not as withered as the people of the town. And they're also a little raspy. And he says, I'm Blaze Ryson. I haven't seen an archmage. I was hoping to find them when I came here. I thought that's what the sign was. We've been trying to find a solution for this. Does not see you yet, Deli.
I take it that none of you have seen the Archmage recently.
Says, I saw him come through, but I think he made it to this. I think he made it to the center before one of the pulses hit.
Oh, that explains why he hasn't responded to our pyrotechnic message.
About this time, you feel a pulse. That same pull, a little bit stronger.
Is Blaze gonna die? Is person gonna die? Is the gnomish person gonna die? Or is one of us? Let's find out. Oh, and then we'll have to fight them until they're truly gone.
You see that pulse happen. You feel that pulse happen. You feel the pull on your tattoo. You, Wilford, don't feel a pull at all.
I wondered if holding the runed blade might have some effect when this pulse occurs.
All right. Bowler hat's safe too, because carrying the possum plushie.
Correct. You see none of them, not even Blaze, take the effects of the pulse. You do see one or two of the commoners that were coming do desiccate.
We told you to tie yourself. Like in the movie Twister, the tornado is coming. You idiots. I'm going to slash your head off with joy.
Before you get there, the guards that were coming do handle these. It's only one or two. But the additional thing is where you are right now, you are in towards the craftsperson area. You see that column expand, covering the warehouses and the houses that were one circle in. So now the column is bigger.
Did it push things out of the way physically, or did it engulf them?
It engulfed them.
So if we stood next to it, the next pulse would be inside it?
Correct.
Where's the rest of those possum plushies?
So you're going to go down and talk to Ignatius? Ignatius Cogbright is his name.
Oh, I know Ignatius.
Yes, you do. He is the one who helped you start with these plushies.
Ignatius, where's the rest of my merchandise?
We only brought a sample here, but this is the only one that survived. And he turns it up, and the rune that was engraved on this particular plushie, this was one of the original samples for animation. So the rune that is engraved on this plushie is still there. He said most of the rest of them, when the first wave came through, the runes were wiped from them, and they ended up looking like they had been sitting around for 100 years. This is the only one that survived.
My merchandise.
Not all of it. Not all of it. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. You know how this works.
Why is Blaze okay?
Good question. You asking?
Would Hefty ask? Would Deli ask? Who cares about Blaze?
Is Deli still up on top of the building?
Yeah, Deli is going to make a couple more fireworks and then hold them in his arms and kind of skitter down.
I think actually, if you've got us separated right there, Wilford's going to seize that moment and say, "Would you three just stay here? We have one more kitten up on top of the roof. Let's Hefty. Let's go retrieve him. Let's just go. Let's go quickly." And I'm going to grab.
Carry me.
Yeah, I'm going to grab Hefty, and rendezvous.
So you're carrying Hefty like Ignatius is carrying the plushie.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna race. I'm gonna stride confidently until I get kind of around the corner, and then I'm going to race up the steps to give us just a moment to talk as a group. I'm going to say, Deli, come here. We have to confer quickly as guild members. Okay. So there are 3 individuals down there in the streets who have objects of significance on their person, one of which we've identified.
Looks affected.
Oh, looks affected.
Looks affected.
Oh, 2 individuals that we believe have objects. I think that approximately how much time was there between pulses? Do we kind of roughly figure?
Hour, give or take. Hard to say.
Seems appropriate. I think there are 2 ways that we can play this. We can either seek to part them with their objects, press onward ourselves, and see if we can defeat the menace before the next pulse, because they will be particularly vulnerable while they don't have their objects,
Or we could do a more unwieldy, time uncertain, questionable action of giving them the objects, having them pass through the barrier at the gates, and then throw the objects back into us and presume to try and affect their safety in some way that way.
You forgot a few options.
Oh, sure, yes. Tell me what else you got.
Everybody picks up a magic unaged item from the bazaar. And as a group, we chill here and drink and eat until the pulse engulfs us next time, which is the only way through this impenetrable barrier.
The only way that we know, I'm inclined to believe that it might allow us to pass through if we're wielding the additional level of protection.
Well, you've got a hilt. Take the plushie and just, see if you can walk through.
If Ignatius is willing to part with it.
Just with your hilt. Just with your hilt. Just go through, skip the plushie. You've got two, right? You're wearing one on your tattoo and you're holding a hilt. So just see if you can go through it.
Okay. If that's what we want to proceed with, I think that that's as reasonable plan as any, because it's quick and because it is reasonable to assume that at most we would be able to afford a double layer of protection for each of the three of us.
Okay. So you're going to walk. You're going to walk through the barrier.
With my double protection, I am ready to give that a shot.
Okay. So you step up. It's kind of like moving or pushing through Jell-O. Everybody loves Jell-O. But you do push through.
It's not the first time that I've swum through Jell-O, and it surely won't be the last.
I don't want to know. You push through. When you get to the other side, everything in there is silent, still. You don't see any movement, anything. You can see out to everybody else. You all cannot see in, but Wilford can see out.
I'm going to immediately attempt to take a defensive, hidden position. But then I'll also try and toss something through the barrier as a sign that I'm still actively alive and mobile over here.
So you toss something at the barrier, and it does not go.
Did I feel, beyond the jello-y effect, did I feel like an enervating effect?
There is now a little bit of pull on you. Mm-hmm. It seems stronger here, but nowhere near what it was when you first passed through the barrier.
Okay, I'm willing to take a gamble on pushing back through to let them know I've made it successfully.
Okay. You see a form coming through the barrier. It's kind of like Jell-O. If you've ever seen the Matrix where he's coming out of the goo, that's kind of what Wilford looks like right now, and he actually manages to push out of the barrier.
Welcome back.
Great success.
So we go to the bazaar, we get another item.
I'm open to looking for things if what we feel is most effective.
This is like an antique shop where stuff actually matters.
Did you see anything in there? Is it worth going in there?
I noticed that it was very kind of deathly still, so to speak, more literal than figurative, and I have every reason to believe that the magical emanation is arriving from within.
I would like to go to the bazaar and get myself an item.
Okay, so you're going to leave the items on the people that have them.
I'm not a murderer.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to murder people? Hey, Deli, do you like this Blaze person or do you want them dead?
I was going to say, can I ask Blaze, what does he have that, what does he have that is allowing him to be here?
He looks down, he says, I was looking for things for the shop, and he reaches in his pouch and he pulls out an amulet.
Oh, you do have an affinity for strange amulets that you have no idea what the background for them are for. Okay.
It looked good.
It's nice. It's shiny. I know you like shiny things. Okay. I guess I'll go as well and try to find an item.
Okay.
Blaze can keep his shiny.
So
And Ignatius, Blaze. This is going to expand with the next pulse, so don't stand next to it unless you want to be inside it.
All right. So should we, and Blaze asked this, should we gather people up and move them towards the outside?
I would be cautious about gathering with other people, given that people are turning on a consistent basis.
Erm says, we've seen some people change small portions of people, not large portions of people. We've been trying to protect as many as we can.
Well, that sounds like a you decision. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they, they think and they confer, and they are going to depart and start to gather people to try and save them. Where in the bazaar do you want to look?
Closest.
Okay. Make me a search roll, whether you want to do it carefully, quickly, cleverly, forcefully, throwing things around.
Unless I can do it flashily, I'm just going to wait for something to get handed to me.
If you can describe how you do it flashily, I'm all for it.
Oh, Jesus in the temple style? I fling a table. No, I'm a possum. I can't. Nothing.
Can you? You've already demonstrated the magics of your music, Hefty. Could you perhaps, even just plucking a magical note, see if we can establish a resonant? Here, and I pull out the runed blade. As we walk, see if you can find a note that resonates with the magical energies on this blade, and perhaps that will allow us to highlight similar artifacts as we pass by them.
Okay. And if you want to do that as a flashy roll as part of your search, absolutely.
I played the ukulele. I'm playing at different notes.
Okay.
I think
so I'll say...
I would love to propose in this moment, if Hefty's going to be making a flashy roll to find this resonant, can I spend a fudge point to use my clever trait to give Hefty the +1 kind of thing? A clever plan, then the implementation of the plan is the flashy.
You absolutely can.
I shall.
Okay.
All right.
I strum a bunch of different notes. Wait for the corresponding magic aura resonance. And I rolled dice. I got 2 6s, a 1, and a 3, so that's a +1.
To your 3, which is a 4, if I am not mistaken.
And then +1 from the assist?
Assist, which is a 5. That is wonderful.
But the maximum, according to the rules, is 3.
Is 3, correct. So, you do find a resonance that vibrates with the blade. And the first place you find it, because you needed a 2, you got a 3. So I'll let you find 2 items. The first one that you find is where you saw those husks come from. There's something on the ground that's very shiny, round, and has a chain attached to it. Small. This big. Oh, sorry. Inch, 2 inches. I know. I forget sometimes. About 1 inch, 2 inches round. About 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick.
We found a magic necklace.
Not quite a necklace, although, Wilford, if you want to give me a quick clever... Actually, no, this would be probably an auto success for your nature and your clever, which is your pinnacle skill. This is a watch.
Ooh.
But it
I
is
can
not
spot
just...
a watch.
It's not just any watch.
Is that the same watch that I tinkered with back in Albion?
No. Similar.
What watch is
But
this?
what you do recognize is the maker's mark. It's Peter's maker's mark.
Ah. It does not surprise me that Peter's work is of such excellence to be sold at the bazaar.
Now, the second thing you find is not in the craft area, but just outside of it. In the area where the food warehouses and the housing is there, in one of the spaces between the buildings, you find a small shrine. And on that shrine is an idol, but none of you have seen or are familiar with who this idol represents. It looks like a female form in a cloak, face obscured.
Deli, there's a magic idol that could make you live.
As Hefty sings that, Deli's bopping along to the song, comes over and looks at the idol. Doesn't recognize it, but is a ferret and likes shiny, holdable things.
Okay. So you now have 3 additional items. You have the blade that is halfway between a sword and a short sword. You have a watch, and you have an idol, which were the other two were the two closest items to your resonance scan. There are other things that are pinging, but they are further towards the front of the city. So what do you do with your newfound items?
Do we feel like we need, if you're getting additional pings, Hefty, do we need to get additional layers of protection, or should we press on quickly to seize the day and the moment?
You know, since you mentioned it, it wouldn't really hurt to have a third one each. Although, yeah, no, if we wait, it just engulfs us. Not a big deal. So yeah, it wouldn't hurt to have a third one.
Deli, what are your thoughts on the matter?
I don't think we need a third item each. Could we give them to other people? Like nearby people that aren't husks?
Okay, Deli doesn't want a third item, but if I pick one up on the way there, like, you guys don't mind, right?
No, go ahead.
Certainly not.
So you're going further out into the city, or going back towards the cylinder to the center of the city?
It's on our way to go towards the cylinder. I'm just going to be doing a flashy roll on the way there to see if I resonate with anything, pick up a third item for myself on the way back.
So what I said was where you're sensing the resonance for the distance that you got. The two that you got were the closest to where you were. Everything else is further out towards the entrance of the city that you can sense from where you are.
So you're saying I'd specifically have to go out of my way to get a third item?
Correct. You'd have to go back.
All right.
You can. There is one you sense in the fourth tier, and there's one in the first tier.
The fourth tier is like our neighbor. It would be a quick pop off.
Correct.
In case one person needs 3 items to not desiccate and to do the final big bad, because this seems to be a concentric circle sort of problem, why don't I just grab a third one and we can head towards the middle? You guys were in no rush before, and now I'm in no rush now that I know I won't desiccate. So picking up that fourth circle one.
Okay. So the fourth, excuse me, the fourth circle one is actually a book, and it looks to be, on the surface, it looks to be some sort of a cookbook.
It couldn't be done. It must be done. I grab the cookbook.
Okay. So you have the cookbook. So you go back, and you are all able to push through the barrier, much like Wilford did. It feels like Jell-O. It feels like pushing through Jell-O or gel. But you come out on the other side, and things in here, as I had told Wilford, are deathly silent. You don't hear anything. You don't see any movement. There's no wind.
It's like the eye of a storm. If I, Deli's gonna look over at. Did Wilford come in as well, or is it all three of us? Deli looks at both of them and talks. Can they hear him?
Yes, sound is here.
Okay.
One additional fact, Hefty, since you do have 3 items, you pass through a little bit easier than everybody else. So it's more like gravy than Jell-O.
I don't know if I can tell. Yeah. If I'd handed this to Wilford and he could tell Jell-O versus gravy, but I didn't. I kept it to myself, didn't I?
All right. Where do you go?
I imagine the road continues like straight to center and then
straight to the
up.
center. Correct.
Is there anything clearly visible, like a fountain or central courtyard kind of thing going on down there?
Give me a perception type roll, please.
Yeah. Making a clever roll with a 2, 3, 3, 4 means that I've got -1 to my 3 trait for a 2 total.
Okay, so for a 2 total, as you were moving forward and looking, this area would have looked like, you would think this is where magical items and antiques would have been. Okay, you see remains of such things, staves, rods, robes, and antiques, not dissimilar to the watch that you already hold. But things that are older or things that would have at once been magical, but they look to be bereft of such power. Now that you are inside, I don't know, Hefty, are you still doing your resonance check or no?
Deli said no, so I'm going to go with no.
Okay. You do see a body that has not desiccated. And that body is wrapped in robes.
I bet that's the Archmage. Deli points.
Oh, no.
I go over and inspect the Archmage's body, like visually. I'm not touching it.
It does look like very similar robes to what Leviticus was wearing outside. Maybe even parts of scraps of what were left on Gerald's. There is a glass orb in his hand. And again, he looks rather hale. It does not look like he was desiccated at all. He's laying face down.
I would like to sniff for oozing of blood or other interior parts to the outside to find the mortal wound, because it wasn't the magic.
You do smell something of decay, but not like what you've been smelling from the magic.
I'm looking for a stab wound or a gut wound or like a...
There is something beneath him that smells like a wound, yes. I'd give you that because that's an easy within your ability to do.
So I smell blood underneath him.
Correct.
Like he got stabbed in the back.
Well, no, he's on his face. He's face down.
Oh, got it. Okay, so he got stabbed in the front.
Yes.
Or took like a wound to the front. Okay.
Correct.
Well, I can't fix that, so I can take his orb.
All right, I know that you guys aren't a big fan of having multiples of these, so...
And then I take the glass orb.
What do you mean I'm not a fan?
I will roll the body over. I would take that.
I give you the glass orb. You're at 3 now, too.
Okay.
I will roll the body over and check up, but I guess if Hefty grabs the orb first, I would, because you keep saying body, but I'm like, are we confirmed this is a dead body or is this a wounded body?
When you turn him over, you are very much confirmed that it is a dead body.
We can take that orb.
There's a large hole in his chest.
When you say hole, so Wilford has background as a battle veteran. What kind of wound is this that he's looking at?
Give me a roll. Your clever should be sufficient, but give me a roll for clever. The difficulty is 2.
With a 1, 2, 4, 4, that's -2 on the roll. Against my +3 means I only get a 1.
Okay. Do you want to buy that up?
Yeah, I'll buy it up. I do really want to know this. I think there's a moment where Wilford, like, the nature of the wound and this other emanating aura makes it hard to kind of quite clock what's going on. But like Wilford like furrows his brow furiously and like does all the mental math in order to clock just what he's looking at.
In simple terms, something reached into his chest and pulled things out, likely his heart.
Oh, this looks like a wound, a puncture wound. Perhaps someone that had the strength to literally rip the heart out of this man's chest.
And it does look like this is like a reaching in, pulling out, rather than just like the heart bursting forth kind of thing.
Correct. So rib cage crushed in. Yes.
That's weird. So he got killed by somebody who didn't take the glass orb?
That is fair. That seems accurate.
Does that mean it's got to have 3 pieces on him, right? So, or at least, they were searching for 2, weren't they? But how'd they get through the barrier without...
Those are too many half sentences for me to know what you're asking.
Can Deli check the body, check the pockets? Because that's what he does with bodies, apparently.
It's very easy to loot the corpse, absolutely.
And if you take it off it and then it instantly desiccates, you'll know you got the right one.
Correct. So you've taken the orb.
And did it instantly desiccate?
He did not instantly desiccate. Now, who has the orb?
I believe I have the orb.
Okay. When you hold the orb for a moment, a 3D image pops up above the orb.
Ooh.
It looks like a 3D map.
It's I assume a map of the town?
It is, and it isn't. The map is of a tower and shows you where you are in the tower.
When you say the map is of a tower and it is of this town, but not this town, was this town, you'd mentioned uneven walls, GM, at the beginning. Was this town ripped out of a tower somewhere and placed here?
Good question.
Oh,
so
okay.
The image is of a tower and it shows you where you are in the tower. You are here.
Am I on the base floor of the tower?
There are floors below.
No floors above, though.
Well, it shows floors above, but you don't see any.
Oh, sure. Yes. I wonder if perhaps somehow, I tell my compatriots, What we're looking at in this city is like a tower that once was here, that either the top has been knocked away and perhaps there are layers beneath us still to be delved, or perhaps this was fully taken out of the tower and just plunked here by some transportation.
I was kind of interested in what Deli was saying, searching for another item. Deli, how's that pocket search going?
He does have rings. As you remove a ring, he does get a little more desiccated. He also has an amulet around his neck that was a little higher than where the hole was, and when you remove that, he does turn to dust.
So a ring and an amulet. Deli, do you still not want more?
No, I want these. I want these.
Okay, so Deli's at 5. No, wait, what are you at, Deli?
I'm at 4. Tattoo, idol, yeah.
So you got the tattoo, the idol, so you're at 4. And I'm at 3 because of, what's the...
You have the cookbook and the watch, I assume, and your tattoo, and I have
yes,
the orb
the
and
watch.
the sword and the tattoo.
Yes, that is accurate. All right. That is all you find of interest here.
I think we need to find this Threm character.
Now, again, you have the orb. Closer inspection of the orb shows where you are, and there is a flashing light somewhere else, kind of like a map to show you where you are going.
Flashing area presumably within this cylinder?
It is deeper in, towards the center circle, and down a level.
Let's sneak there as quickly as we can and ambush whatever evil is inside.
I agree.
Okay. There's no resistance. There is nobody here. Nothing here. Again, other than that one body that you found, there's a lot of dust, but no wind. The orb leads you towards a temple, within the temple, and towards a back area where it looks like somebody had been excavating or remodeling, something of that nature. But there's a way down through a ladder if you follow the orb. When you get down, you're in a room, and there are items here that don't look desiccated like everything else. There are runes about the room and things of that nature. There's also a mirror, large mirror on one side, probably taller than 3 of Deli, so 12 foot tall, give or take. In front of the mirror is a table, and there's I would say person, but a body sitting in the seat. Very high hat, very noticeable finery. It looks like a religious figure of some sort. They are leaning over a table with their hand clamped around a chalice. Their skin is ashen, gray, dark gray, that you can see. And it looks like they are sitting in a chair, holding the chalice, facing the mirror.
Deli's going to pick up a little rock off the ground and chuck it at the back of its head.
You throw a rock at the back of its head, and where you throw, it just goes poof. Clothes, skin, everything clatters across the floor. It does make noise, but that's the only thing that disturbs any dirt or anything here.
Did we notice an increase of the and like the entropy or the enervating effect as we move down this floor?
No, actually less, since you have multiple items at this point.
Is there anything readily visible within the reflection of the mirror that's different than what we're seeing in the room?
There is no reflection in the mirror. The glass is black.
That's a portal. That's not a mirror.
Is there a large sheet in the room that we could throw over that mirror?
Not that you see.
Hey, I'm not so good at throwing stuff. Would you throw something into the mirror, please?
Deli picks up another little rock. Actually, he takes one out of his pocket and throws it into the portal mirror.
Okay. It ripples like water when the stone hits the surface of the portal, not mirror.
No, with a string tied around it.
Wait, not done. As the ripple clears, a form becomes visible in the portal. It looks like a very desiccated being, not dissimilarly robed, although different symbols, different signs, to the man that was sitting in the chair. And he seems to peer through the portal, and he says, "Return my chalice."
That is fair. Let's do that, everybody.
Yeah, we didn't know this chalice was here before. There's, are there any, before we do, I would love to just quickly glance and see if in front of this body there's any scribbled notes, religious texts. Like, as much as I want us to resolve the situation here in the city, I'd rather not create an apocalypse event this day, or trade apocalypse events.
As you move closer, there is a book by the other hand not holding the chalice, or essentially under the hand. And once again, the being in the mirror says, "Return my chalice."
Absolutely, sir. We are working on it. And we head towards the hands, both of them.
Okay. The book is intact. If you touch the book is intact. It does not disappear.
Yep, definitely want to check out what's going on with that book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is not in a language that any of you understand. There are a lot of runes. There's a lot of different symbols. There are, if you had to guess, it was some kind of some kind of an ancient tome of some nature. There is a picture of, if you're flipping through, and when you move the book, the hand and the arm, poof, from the gentleman who was sitting in the chair. But there are a lot of symbols. There's a picture of the mirror. There's a picture of the idol that Deli has.
So this book is like my cookbook, but for how to summon death gods.
Is there? I know you said that the symbolism is largely beyond us, but some clear connections of that looks like that idol. There doesn't happen to be a big circle with a line through it saying don't give the chalice to this thing.
No, there is not.
Well, that's about as much information as we could hope for.
Well, this guy's speaking to us. If we give you back this chalice, this effect harming the town goes away. Yes, correct?
Give me my chalice and your world survives.
As a special friendship, and I would like to play a song, of course, to create a friendship charm with this person. Can you refill the husks? There's a lot of them tied to their walls and their chairs because they care about their loved ones, and those ones listen to me, so I want to save them. And those people, those husks, they didn't hurt you. It's not their fault, you know? We're not going to blame the innocent. So could you just refill those ones? Just those ones?
Those who have changed are lost. Those who are still in process. I know. I'm giving it to you.
A fudge point.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay. All right. It says, can use a fudge point to automatically succeed at any unopposed roll of trait rating of trait rating or lower difficulty. So my trait rating is superb.
I understand. So it's still not sufficient, and I will give you the response. Those who have turned cannot be recovered. Those who are in the process of turning will be restored. So in other words, anybody who's going feral cannot be recovered, but anybody who is not feral will be restored.
Seems like what I rolled didn't matter.
It's not within his power to do.
I don't know how much interaction you have with deities or deity-like entities, Hefty, but portfolios tend to be an important thing.
Throw the chalice in the portal.
I will toss the chalice into the portal.
You have 3 items, yes?
I have 3 items, yes.
Okay. When you pick up the chalice, you do feel the pull, almost as strong as you initially did. But when you throw it in the portal and it crosses, the being on the other side catches it. The shimmering stops. It seems to go back to being a regular mirror, and its spider web cracks across the surface of the mirror.
That must mean it's closed.
Well, just in case.
And then I think Hefty's going to bump into it.
Okay. You knock it over, and the glass does indeed shatter everywhere.
Deli's going to leave the little idol, because he's got 4 items. Deli's going to leave the little idol in front of where the portal was.
Okay. So, moments after that spider webbing happens, you feel a rush, like air's coming back into the room. and there's no longer a pull or a tug on you, and you feel very invigorated.
Wilford's going to like gather up some of the magical shrapnel and be like, an artifact this powerful, even the shards can be of significance. At least will merit further inspection later in the lab.
All right.
You can have the cookbook and the watch. I can't give you my tattoo. You can study these.
Excellent.
All right. And you're leaving the idol behind.
Yes.
All right. When you do climb out of this temple and leave outside, everything seems to return to normal. The colors are bright again. Things are still desiccated in this area, but there's no longer that pall of entropy or death. As you move out, further out in the circles, the people that were wrinkled or started desiccation are hale once more. It's going to be a time to recover some of this. Some of the items did not return to their former self. So you still see pitted armor. You still see rotten food. But the people themselves, the animals, which you do see and hear them now, as some of them were in the cooking area and some of them were stabled in other places, all seem to be returned to regular health.
Do you guys have any guesses about what took out the Archmage?
I was just thinking about that loose end.
Because it could still be here.
It sure could. Presumably, we might hear screams start if it's around. And if so, then we can address it. But if we don't hear screams, then that might be a good sign.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to like Jack the Ripper walking around your city, unrelated to other things.
We'll warn the officials. We won't just keep that under our hats.
You can't solve all the problems in the world, I suppose.
All right, I'm going to hold me like a football facing backwards, and I'm going to keep an eye behind us as we leave.
I appreciate your wariness.
And as you move out of the town, there's no more dome over you. The cylinder is gone. There's no more dome. People seem to be moving to cleaning up, recovering, finding the people that were missing, doing things of that nature. There's a lot of cleanup going on. If this is any sign, it may be a little while before the marketplace is going to be open again. But as with all commerce, eventually it will come around again, and who knows what's going to happen next with what people have found. One point of context. Did you take the other book with you?
Oh, yes. I think I would have also gathered that up for my studies.
Okay. Got it.
I think in particular, he and I might pore over that. I think that would be of great interest.
Okay.
Oh, does that mean that the person in the chair was Hierarch Thrembolt?
That's my guess.
That you can confirm that with Leviticus and some others. He can also confirm the identity of the Archmage Agi Gambadoro. That would be Agyei Gambadoro.
Listen here, Lem, you might still have a killer on the loose. That wound from the Archmage is a bit of an unresolved matter, so tell the guards to be on high alert until further notice.
Thank you very much. There's a reward due, but we're going to have to clean up before we can offer it. But there's definitely a reward due to all of you. Thank you very much. We managed to clean up the last pulse that came out. I've gotten reports. We've only lost one or two people on the outside. But we will definitely search the city and make sure that there is nothing remaining that is dangerous.
And Deli's just going to add, as they're walking away from him, make sure you wear armor, whatever got the Archmage kind of extracted his heart. So you may want to make sure you're protecting that.
And that just makes him look all the more skittish like he did when you got there in the first place.
And then Deli's going to happily walk away, feeling that he did something and helped. And
I believe that concludes our adventure for the day. So I want to thank all of our Fire Breathing Kitten members for coming and joining the fun today. We have Hefty. And Deli.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Wilford.
You know, I think I might stick around for a couple of days, converse with and help keep an eye out with my gadgets for whatever that menace might be.
Definitely food for thought. Thank you, everybody, and come and join us again next time.